Questa sessione vede gli interventi di tre pratiche, di tre best practice, lasciatemi dire, con scale diverse. Affrontiamo cioè ed esaminiamo insieme tre esempi rilevantissimi, uno in Germania che è Friburgo, il secondo in Italia che è Faenza, il terzo ancora in Italia che è Torino, e non vi sfugge anche la differenza di scala nelle dimensioni, dalle città medie alle città più piccole alla metropoli, cercando di affrontare una questione che è molto importante, che da una parte è quella della continuità dell'idea del processo di governo del territorio e del piano che lo affianca, evitando quella sindrome che Bruno Gabrielli in uno scritto di qualche tempo fa richiamava una sindrome un po' bipolare dell'urbanistica, legata cioè a momenti di esaltazione e a momenti in qualche modo di depressione per chi fa questo mestiere. Una sindrome che può essere superata nello stesso momento in cui si assume la consapevolezza e la coscienza del fatto che il governo del territorio e la pianificazione urbanistica, che è una parte sostanziale della tematica del governo del territorio, non può vivere momenti di discontinuità, non può essere legata per esempio alla discontinuità politica. Un'amministrazione e la sopravveniente ritengono che sia una opposizione politica alla continuità del processo del piano. Verrebbe meno l'idea fondamentale della pianificazione continua che è alla base dell'urbanistica moderna. Allora ecco che i tre casi di oggi, dicevo, esprimono anche attraverso i relatori che abbiamo qui con noi e che brevemente adesso vi presento, la condizione di una urbanistica praticata, di una pianificazione del territorio in grado di governare processi determinando condizioni diverse. Cioè dobbiamo smetterla di ritenere che le cose possano cambiare perché cambiano da sole o che le cose sono immutabili. I cambiamenti avvengono, come vedremo, quando c'è la capacità di governarli e di accompagnarli. Il primo intervento, li presenterò i relatori man mano che intervengono, è affidato a Wulf Daseking e ha come tema centrale la best practice per eccellenza, la città che è stata award nel 2010 come migliore pratica urbanistica europea, la città di Friburgo. La caratteristica che hanno le persone, Maurizio, che sono con noi qui è di essere tutte e tre nostri grandi amici e siamo orgogliosi di questo fatto. Con Wulf Daseking ci conosciamo già da un bel po' e mi piace presentarlo ricordandovi questo testo che è stato l'ultimo testo di Peter Hall, di Sir Peter Hall, che si chiama Good Cities for Better Lives. È un libro importante, non solo perché è l'ultimo che Peter Hall ha scritto, ma perché lui ha considerato la necessità in questo testo di rivedere in una sorta di grand tour del XXI secolo, girando attraverso l'Europa e studiando in Francia piuttosto che in Germania, nei paesi scandinavi piuttosto che in Spagna, quali fossero le innovazioni vere che hanno portato ai rilevanti cambiamenti per riportare, come scrive nella conclusione di questo volume, The Lost Art of Urbanism, la perduta arte della pianificazione urbanistica al centro dei progetti di trasformazione del Paese. Il libro è estremamente interessante, parlo di Peter Hall introducendo Wulf Daseking, adesso scoprirete perché affronta, vi dicevo, in maniera straordinaria, così come Peter Hall è stato da sempre in grado di fare, e parlando della capacità di una grande economia nel generare in termini di economia circolare il nuovo, si riferisce alla Germania, la sostenibilità degli edifici in Olanda, i nuovi caratteri del trasporto e dello sviluppo e della rigenerazione delle città in Francia, la grande capacità della resilienza e dei nuovi modelli di resilienza al cambiamento climatico della Scandinavia, e poi conclude nel capitolo 11 Freiburg, the city that did it all. Friburgo, la città che ha fatto tutto questo. Nella premessa, quando ringrazia per questo straordinario volume tantissime persone che lo hanno aiutato, dice testualmente, ve lo leggo prima in inglese: "But one individual must be named. Wulf Daseking, the legendary city planner of Freiburg for 27 years. Now professor in the University of Freiburg and visiting professor to UCL. This book is dedicated to him in recognition of his achievement." Ma ad una persona questo libro è dedicato, ed è Wulf Daseking, per 27 anni il leggendario pianificatore della città di Friburgo, oggi visiting professor alla UCL, alla Bartlett School di Londra e all'Università di Friburgo. Questo è Wulf Daseking, che noi ringraziamo personalmente per essere stato con noi, e gli cedo subito la parola.
Thank you very much for this very kind introduction. It's too much honor. It's too much honor for me to tell you the very truth. I only did my job, and we planners should all do our job. Thanks to, especially to Paolo La Greca, we met in Lipari last year by chance. They invited me to come to the summer school, to join the summer school. A fantastic place, Lipari. I've never been before. I travel a lot in this world. I see a lot of cities. I'm now nominating in the nominating committee of the Lee Kuan Yew Prize from Singapore. And in this way, I can travel all around all continents. And to start my lecture, I would say every city, every country has to find its own way. Has to find it because there is no really receipt. There no really concept which you can transfer from one city to the next one. But there are some requirements I want to talk to you, and perhaps you can use them here in this area too. It's a fantastic area where you are living, but one point at the beginning, you are also hit by sprawl, which is going like cancer into the area around. If you are not able to stop the sprawl immediately, I'm very sure no real changing can happen. There's a point which you have to face. This is the planning triangle. This planning triangle is a triangle between social question, economy, and ecology. And we all have to face it. And, well, it's, of course, a scale in which way cities have to go. And we as planners have to fight for our aims. We have to fight very strong for them. And a real planner is never befriended, is never beloved. Planner cannot be beloved, because when you are beloved in an area, in a city, you are in the wrong place. So you must fight for your aims, and you must, for fighting for these aims, you must stay a long time. Continuity, quality, seriosity, reliability are those words which are necessary. And when we all are going to face, we can see this symbol says not only social question, economy, ecology. Of course, it integrates the citizen partnership. It integrates also the cultural variety. And the most important point is the region. The city of the future is the city of all regions. And to say it very abruptly and very strong and hard, in the next years, you will have winners and losers. As more as the digitized world is going on, you will have losers, a lot of losers, but you will have also a lot of winners. It's up to you to find your way in which way you can make it. We all have to face one point. The pollution of the earth is going on in a way which you cannot, well, it's incredible. So we all complain about hurricanes, we all complain about water typhoons and stormwater. In Germany, we had in the last 2 months a situation we never had before. Even small villages or even a bigger village was really thrown away by the flood. So in US you have these hurricanes, you have a changing of water, you have lack of water in some areas where it's not possible to make any agriculture anymore. And we all remember we had 1992 the Rio Conference, which said 20% reduction of all CO2 emissions. And I kindly ask you, which is your plan? Do you have a master plan in your city which says how can we reduce the CO2 emission? So we had the Kyoto Protocol in 1997. The Kyoto Protocol was signed nearly by all nations. Only America went away in 2002 or 3, I think, went away. But nevertheless, we had this protocol, all countries signed it. And then we had the Copenhagen Conference, which was in 2012, 20 years after Copenhagen. And in Rio, they said 20% of reduction. And in 2012 in Copenhagen, they realized they haven't found it. So they haven't realized it. So the next point is, of course, to you, we all should know we have now a UN paper, which is also signed by all countries, nearly all countries. And to say now the truth, I went in the last 6 weeks, I was in Australia, I was in Asia, of course in Europe. I'm now here in this place. I was 2 weeks ago in Paris. I was in London. So you travel a lot, but you see there is no really fighting for reducing the CO2 emissions, which will kill us all. That is why I pointed out in the Charter of Freiburg 5 especially points which are necessary to bring this idea on the way. The first one is on the left side, city and region. The second one is the region. The third one is the district or the neighborhood. The fourth one is the block, the streets and the places. And at least you have the houses. The houses, of course, which have all to be, when you install them, have all to be passive houses. Means you can build houses now which do not only need any energy, which produce energy, so that you can bring energy back to the wire. By the way, the energy will not be the problem of the world in future. It will be the water. But let's start with the region. Of course, first point is you have to make a master plan and you have to make a land use plan together with the region, which says no development to the outside. First point, no development to the outside. No sprawl to the outside. The more you go out, the more the infrastructure costs. You must know it, the further you are out, the more you have to pay for the infrastructure. And one point is necessary for you to know, the maintenance of infrastructure, which is going out, will go on in the next years extremely. So it means you have to connect the area of the inner city with the nearer, close-by area of the villages, and of course outside to the areas which are going till 80 kilometers, 90 kilometers, and only there, where the infrastructure of open public transportation system is existing, you are allowed to build further on. If you don't do that and make in the same way a concept of car reduction, you can say you never will win the race of reducing CO2 emissions by 20%. The open public transportation system must run 4 points, must run often, it must be safe, it must be clean, and it must be cheap. And you only get density on the open public transportation system if you are able to combine these urban areas together with the open public transportation system. If this is not existing, you will not do it. And you have to do it over years and years and years. Means reduction of private car circulation extremely, and strengthen the investments into the open public transportation system. You normally do this by taking the money from the companies who earn a lot of money, like electricity companies, to transfer it into the area of the open public transportation way. And of course, you have to combine these open public transportation systems. The best system, of course, in Europe has Switzerland and Denmark, Copenhagen and Malmö have a very excellent system. But we also not only tried, we managed to combine those systems. All 5 minutes the tram is run, and it's combined to the buses, it's combined to the regional train, it's combined to the fast-running train. One photo I can show to you. It's from Medellin. Medellin won or will win in July. In July next year, not this year, in July in 4 weeks, the City World Prize of the Lee Kuan Yew Prize. That's a committee I'm working in, because they made over years an extremely good way to integrate especially those who have no money. Planning means also a social concept, not a concept to separate, a concept to integrate. They built up this cable line without paying anything. It's paid by the electricity companies, and the ground where they brought down the basics is very narrow, so that they had not to take plots, private plots. They only have to integrate these elements, and perhaps this element will come in the future more and more up. Let's come to the second point, the city. The city, of course, the future of the city is not only the city, it's also the region, as I told you. Over years, the city was very dense. When you go to Catania, it's fabulous inside. Every person runs to Catania, to the inner side. Why do they do that? Why do we do that? Because it's dense, it has quality, it has plots, it has variety, it has a mixture, plot by plot, another architect, and we have lost these ideas. Please read the book of Jane Jacobs. She wrote in 1962, Death and Birth of the Great American Cities. You must read it. It must be a book all students have to have it under their mind. But with the revolution of the industrial revolution brought the system that our cities went out more and more and more. And the most important point, to say it very strictly, is if you are not able to bring it on a way that you stop this sprawl in your region, in all regions in Europe, in all regions, and to combine the rest, only settlement and those places where the open transportation system is running, you will never win the race in reducing CO2 emissions. Every political leader, it's the same in which party he is in, has to give an answer in which way he is able to reduce CO2 emissions. That means CO2 emissions can only be reduced when you install certain instruments. We built in Freiburg this compact city over years. It took 29 years to do it. We have this compact city. 84% of all population is close bound to 250 meters to the open public transportation system. So the system is cheap. You can buy a ticket for 51 euro per month, and you can go 120 kilometers all around the area. So the repaying of the whole system is repaid by 83%. That's the highest amount we have in Europe. And this came from this way. Of course, everyone has to find its own way. But if you say you want to do something, you have not only to talk and talk and talk, you must install a group. And a group in the city is not a very big one, and everyone talks and talks and talks. No, it must be a group of 5 persons. A political leader, a political strong leader, one person of the Chamber of Commerce, the leader of the Chamber of Commerce, the rector of the university, the brainy area. The 5th one is the leader for the cultural diversity, and the 5th one is one of the very important and strong planners. And these 5 have to work out ideas in which way a city should be developed. It's also necessary to integrate inside the green, not because it only looks beautiful. No, you reduce in this way, when you give neighborhood to green areas, you reduce the circulation of car traffic. And if you see these white spots are the suburbs, are the small villages which have of course grown up, and inside these areas you just put in line the open public transportation system. And you combine it with the bicycle lanes. In every budget, every year you have to give a certain amount of money to install bicycle lanes inside, to separate walking areas from bicycle areas. And you give the bicycles, they have the majority, they can run and the cars have to stop. The next point is, of course, third point, the district. The district means you have to look in all areas where you have brownfields. This was an area, when I came to Freiburg in 1983, we bought this land. The city has to influence the planning, not the developers have to do it. The city has to influence, they make a plan, you make a competition, you install a group inside your authorities, and afterward you made a recreation and now the ground looks like that. And it's all repaid by selling the plots afterwards, because in front the costs of the ground are very low, and after planning they are very high. Normally the developers take everything over. No, we said we do it, we make it by ourselves, we sell the plots to private person, also to developers, and by doing that we win the money. So all the infrastructure which came down here was repaid by selling the plots. Or if you are going to install new areas, plot by plot, another architect. We are not going ahead to build medieval areas, but what we have known is that we have plot by plot in all areas, on all the cities we are going to. We are mostly going to the inside, not to the outside. We have variety, and we try to install variety inside. So we are building a city, of course, of the future. All houses are low energy houses or passive houses. You have all places. You have integrated all private and open public infrastructure. You have, of course, an energy concept, you have a water concept, and you have a concept of social living inside. So variety is the point, which is extremely necessary to do, because when you look in your areas around, I went yesterday with my wife around this area and we looked in the suburbs. The suburbs all nearly look the same. You must give a planning area an identification. And how do you do this? Plot by plot, another architect. And it's the authorities who say which sort of plots you are building. You have richer ones, you have poorer ones, and they live close door. And you install inside greens so that you don't need to go by car to any other place. And everything is very short installed or connected to the tram line. The tram line is the backbone of every, or the open public transportation system, is the backbone of every development. Kindergartens are also a symbol inside, not these old rotten kindergartens. You must install some ideas inside in which way they can go, and you must, of course, because this infrastructure is expensive, you must, of course, integrate some variety so that you can put afterwards walls away, that when the children are getting older, you must transfer this building into a youth house, perhaps. The open space also plays a role. As long as we let the cars run, the quality of all our areas will not come back. Why are we all running into inner areas? Why are we all going to, like, Golden City on the hill? When you want to see a city, the quality of a city, never go downtown, never go inside the city. Go sit down in a bus, sit down in a metro, sit down in a tube, go anywhere else, drive 20 minutes outside and go out, and what you see afterwards there, this is the result of the city. And mostly you see it's all the same, it's no identification, it's all a shit. A shit. Give the young generation the possibility to go. This sign is made in our city. Where this sign is on, the cars are only allowed to drive 20 kilometers, and if the children are not leaving from the street, the car has to stand. It's just in front of my house, and these guys are living around, and they know when I'm coming home, and when I take my car, they're putting a rope over the street and say, €2 and you can pass. Yeah? That means this is also kind of robbery. The car is one of the most, and you can talk as long as you want. If you don't, not the others, don't change this idea, and you don't want to have equality in the city, you must say it. But if you want to change something, you must do it in another way. Houses have to be integrated. Social housing, rented housing, ownership has to be integrated, door to door. The green areas have to be created by the public, by the people who live next door. When you do this, you have no demolishment because the people around you think it is their ownership. And of course, you build houses integrated living and working. Look what the digitized world will bring to you. It will bring totally different places in future. You must have a concept, inner concept of houses, which is totally different from all the shit we are building in these days. And of course, it's neighborhood. It's the neighborhood. It's mixture. It's density. It's an understanding of all. The fourth point is the block and the streets. We are living here, you put us in a hotel, and I'm very thankful that you did it, Royal Hotel. The street has a fantastic size. Huh? It's small, it has trees around. It's very easy to do it anywhere. Huh? Streets before, streets 2 years later, places which were created, open spaces in the middle. Places and streets are the face of the city. Streets and places are the face of the city. And with the surrounding houses, of course. And you get an identification. And if you are going to build new plots around it, not a developer who takes all and makes it, no, plot by plot, another architect. And of course you do it in this way that you say all houses have to be passive houses. These houses as passive houses cost 8 to 11% more than a normal house. But the result afterwards, the CO2 emissions, which are not going up, is incredibly high, so you can transfer it. In between 20 years, from 1992 till 2012, Freiburg made its way to reduce the CO2 emissions by 21%. So it's continuity which you have to bring inside. And of course, not the houses which have no face. It's a model of Baugruppen. Baugruppen, the developer is totally away. People organize it by yourself. The city gives these plots to private persons. They take an architect to develop it. And every unit has another face. So it is the point that you have a reduced an energy concept house, that you have variety inside, and the costs are totally down. And of course, the houses have to be in this way that you also can win a lot of energy. And you sell this energy to the energy company. Therefore, you need a very strong political leader and, of course, participation of the energy concept, of the energy factory which runs it, so that you can transfer this money to the energy company and you get money back. Integration of solar panels. What I've seen here is very, very small. Solar panels are now very cheap. You can integrate it everywhere for cooling. Huh? There's a Fraunhofer Institute in Germany who makes extremely good ideas. And remember, one point is necessary to know. Saudi Arabia has made a law to sell 35% of their oil companies to private persons, and they take this money to change their country into a country of solar technology. This will happen. This is not only a saying, this will happen. We wrote down, after we have won for all these elements, the Charter of Freiburg. You can have a look on it. It's written also in English. There are principles inside, which you can use in a smaller village, which you can use for a mega city. The discussion is starting everywhere in this world, is starting. London does it, Paris does it. I work together with the university in Sassari in Sardinia. I work together with the university in Rome. So this discussion is going up. You have not to use these requirements. You can put totally different points in it. But you have to discuss the future of your city, and you have to write down in which way you want to go. And of course, it's the university with the brainy people who can do that. And now I will come to the end. The digital revolution is just on its way. It has not yet started, but it's on its way. It will change this world extremely. You will have winners, but you will have also a lot of losers. The working places will be totally different. Also that working places for the planners, for architects and planners, also for lawyers, for doctors and so on. You have to say in which way you want to go and which is the city you have to have for this area. And of course, I'm very sure that all our organizations in the authorities is not possible to make this transfer to happen. We don't need anymore these bosses. We need leaders. Leaders are very intelligent people who just are inside a group and who can inspire the group to go ahead. I had a fabulous group around me. Perhaps next time you invite me, I will discuss about the organization of city authorities. The organization is one of the most important points to come through. And for all that, I can say you now it's up to you to do something. You are the persons who can influence all political leaders. You must not complain yourself. The world is as it is. You cannot say, it's not me, it's the political leader. No, it's also you. You have to say, especially the younger persons, especially the women, have to stay. By the way, I for myself think a lot of women have to go in very high positions because they are giving life to this earth, and perhaps by doing this, they can have a totally different thinking of how to save natural resources for the next generations. So my point is, bring more young women, very experienced women, into high positions that we can change something. By the way, I'm here for a discussion. Thank you very much. 25 minutes have gone.